What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Driving Through Life by Lost Socket Garage. My name's Hunter, and today we're going to get back to the GTO.
In a world full of cheap coilovers, tow hooks, and eBay turbos, one man set out to create a channel to educate, motivate, break things, fix those things that he broke, but most importantly, make the mistakes so you don't have to. Join him as he goes driving through life.
If you watched one of my previous episodes, I'll put it up in, I don't know, one of these corners. I don't know how cameras work. We were putting Longtube headers on our GTO. We bought them. We bought some pace setter headers, a little bit of a quality, like a budget header. Not a big deal. They come with a paint on them for packing so they don't get scratched up. So the manufacturer, pace setter, will put like this thin coat of paint on. So what I wanted to do is I wanted them Cerakoted. Got a buddy who does Cerakoting. Long story short, life changed a little bit for him. He didn't have time to do it, so I just took him back. So now it's up to me to throw, first off, strip of them of their paint. And then I am just going to be throwing some high temp paint on there. I'll show you guys that here in just a bit. The first challenge, though, is stripping the paint. Now, the least easy, but probably relatively effective way to do it is with sandpaper. Now, let me show you this header. This header has, and you can see kind of even the paint starting to come off there. This is something where if I were to throw these headers on and just let the car run for about 45 minutes or so, all of this paint would come off anyway. The issue is that if I throw the headers on, I have to drop my steering rack. I only want to do that once, so we have to get all the paint off right now. So looking around online, figured out the best way to do this is to apply heat, just like they're getting applied in the off of the actual block itself. So the direction we're going to go is we're going to be using a propane blowtorch. Now, whenever I ask the wifey for a blowtorch, she says no. But this little guy can't hurt anybody with that. So, comes with a nozzle and a propane tank. What we're going to do is plug this all up. We're going to light it. I have a little stand set up that I'll show you guys here in just a second. And then we'll start baking off this paint. So, let's get her done. All right, so we got our little propane torch. We got a lighter because I didn't want to blow the extra 10 bucks on one of the mechanical ones where you just push a little button and it lights itself. So, I got another little butane lighter. I'm going to crack this on just a little bit. So crack this on till, again, you use very, very little. And then we have this little blue flame there. I don't know if you can see that or not. So we got the flame going. As we put this to the header, we're going to put this right on the header and just start warming it up. It's probably going to take a little bit, but you know, it's what we got on hand. This is taking a really long time. Like we need something bigger. I'll be back. Okay, so you could say things escalated quickly. I was really tired with that little torch, you know? So I went to Harbor Freight and I bought a blowtorch. Now, typically these are used to clear grass fields and other stuff you would use a blowtorch for. Today, we're going to be melting a bunch of paint off of a header or headers with a blowtorch.
Cool. Fire, 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 fire.
For this, it's going to be creating a lot of heat. So don't be stupid. It's sad that I have to do this, but don't be stupid. Lost Socket Garage is not responsible for anyone that uses a propane and or a propane accessory and hurts themselves. We have the header set up on a little brick thing that you'll see here in just a second. It's high off the ground. We're gonna light this. I did blow the extra 10 bucks on the electric lighter now. So it's really, really easy. We're gonna use a mask. We got the safety goggles on and hopefully we're not gonna blow up. So, gonna get her done. right, so give you a quick look. I didn't want to put the mic back on, so sorry if the audio is shit. So that's just a few seconds with it. One of the things that I did is I stuck the blowtorch in this end so it's moving just like exhaust gas. And then if we take a look here, hi love. We take a look here, this is hot as balls, but you can already see, so I put the blowtorch in that end so the exhaust or the flame goes all the way out. And you can see the smoke coming off. So again, that's why you wear a mask. All of this is going to start flaking off very, very soon. So I'm just going to keep going with this and let you know when I stop. So went over it quite a bit. You're gonna find these little ashy spots. It's gonna be this like weird red color. Come in with some brake cleaner. Most of this shit just sprays right away. So I'm gonna come in here with a cloth. You're gonna see that there's still a little bit of paint. It's actually hard to get the paint off of this top part. Okay. Make sure you wait until these cool down a little bit before you throw brake cleaner, because brake cleaner is very, very cold. Headers will be very, very hot, and you don't want to compromise. Look how pretty that is. You don't want to compromise the integrity of it by heating it up and then freezing it very, very quickly, so they can crack. But so next thing I'm going to do, make sure these are completely cooled down. I'm going to take some heavy sand grits, like some 60 grit, and then I'm going to move down to 220 and sand the shit out of these bad boys, clean them, and then hang them up for a first coat of primer. So we went ahead, got them cleaned off. Here they are, all clean. Look at that, ain't those pretty? As you can see on this one, I actually already started primering it. I'm gonna go over with you, and I've talked when I've painted before, or if I've done the rhino lining, etc., the light coat first. I've used a 220 grit just to barely scratch these up just a little bit. Never have to worry about it because we will never see it. So again, 6-8 inches, about 6 inches away, depending on what your definition of 6 inches is. Giggity. And we're just gonna do, you notice that I have this on a ladder right now. It's because I didn't want to like rig up a PVC thing, but I'm gonna do these really light to begin with. And the wind blows and takes away most of it. But again, this is a, if I haven't gone over it, I don't think I have. This is a VHT flame proof. I've actually used this before on headers, and I looked at a couple of reviews, and this does really well with keeping exhaust gases, exhaust temperatures down and through the end of the header, out the back of the car, which is where you want it. You really want to minimize heat. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second while everything's drying. So I am going to put the base coat of the primer on this header. This one's already done. And then again, this first one's a very, very light coat. The second one is going to be a heavier coat. And then we'll go ahead and throw the paint on it. All right, so we're back for a second coat. Already threw a second coat on these. Looking very nice. I'm gonna do a second coat on these. Very, very thin coat to start with. Now we're gonna start laying on the primer. Much thicker coat. And again, this is okay if you know, you have little drips and stuff like that. You're never gonna see this. It's just going in the engine bay. We just want to make sure that we have really good coverage on all of this. All right, so we're going to start the black coat here. This is the flame proof. Make sure you get the flame proof stuff. They have a couple of versions of this. This is the one that is the 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's hope you never hit that in your manifolds or your headers. So we're just going to throw light coat. Same thing, same process as last time. I'm going to do a light coat to start. You can go a little heavier on this since now you have a primer on it and the paint has something to stick to. We're just going to do a basic black here, not doing anything crazy. So I'm going to throw the first coat on this, and we might make it to a second coat today. Not sure, might have to do it tomorrow. Just let these dry overnight. But we'll pick up on the next coat or once I have them done. All right, so last night we got the final coats of black on. Now left them in the sun and they're hot as hell. We did a few coats of primer. I think it was 2 to 3 coats of primer. For both long tube headers, I used exactly a full can of the exhaust primer. Then we put on about 2 coats of the black flame-proof VHT. And so we got 4 coats on here. And, you know, actually it lays pretty easy, to be honest with you.
Just the way your mother likes it, Trebek.
I have a few drips, but again, I'm not worried about that at all. It's, you know, it's going in the engine bay. No one's ever going to see it once I put these bad boys in. Now, sometimes a question that people have is, why do I wrap the headers or why do I paint the headers? Primary reason is heat dispersal, okay? So when you put long tubes on, okay, well, let's start here. When you have manifolds on, they're very, very short. You have those heat shields over your exhaust manifolds for a reason, and that's to keep heat in the exhaust and all the way out the exhaust to the other end, because engines don't run as well when they're hotter. But we're shooting fire out this mother. So we need to be able to take this heat, keep all of it within the exhaust, and get it as... Someone is mowing the lawn and just jamming out to Sweet Child of Mine right now. Ah, sweet child of mine. What we want to do is, with this coating, it's going to trap the heat in. Now, I could go ahead and wrap these as well with the exhaust wrap. It's like a fiberglass tape that you put around it, essentially. I just really don't want to. I feel like it's a little bit overkill. This isn't a motor. It's not turboed. You know, it's a 6-liter. So it runs a little bit hot, but really not that hot. What we did here is we put all the coats of flame-proof on, etc., so that it holds the heat within the header and moves it to as far back of the car as humanly possible. Keep it out of the engine bay, keep your car running smooth. So what's next, might you ask? Today we are going to be well, not today on this video, but the next video, we are going to be putting these headers on, which is going to be a lot harder than taking the manifolds off, because manifolds are, you know, shorties, right? They're like this long. The headers, when you put long tubes on a GTO, you have to drop basically the steering rack. So what happens is the steering, pardon me, the steering linkage actually goes through. This isn't the right header, it's the other header, but it actually goes through 2 of the tubes. So we have to drop the steering rack and disconnect a bunch of stuff. I'll show you guys how to do that in the next video. And then we'll get to start this bad boy up for the first time since quarantine started. I've really been missing this car. So thanks for joining me today. If you dig the content, if this helped at all, please consider liking and subscribing. You know, share the channel, hit the bell, do the YouTube stuff, you know, because it really does help smaller channels like me. If you're a Ryobi executive, I use a lot of your tools, so go ahead and hit me up, because I know a real nice YouTube channel that would love to be sponsored by Ryobi or something. Get your Lost Socket Garage merch, dope shirts, lostsocketgarage.com. We also have some parts on the website. We have access to a ton of parts, so if you need anything for your Subaru, your GTO, your Camaro, your Jeep, whatever it is, hit me up. I got good prices. I'll hook you up, especially if you say, I'm subscribed to your YouTube channel. Until then, do what you love. Be happy. Don't be a dick. And as always, keep on driving.